Bitcoin, huh? Very good. Chucking a good old well, ladies and gentlemen. We've had some nice movement to the start of Monday. Investors are all coming back from that New Year's holiday. This is the first week that is going to be a full week of trading, in the sense where we got lots of data coming out, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, and the market today has just come through with a beautiful start to 2025. How long will it go on for? Never mind, ladies and gentlemen, we don't need to worry about how long it will go on for. Right now, we can see that we've got activity in cryptocurrency, and in tonight's video, going to break everything down, and I'm going to highlight something that we spoke about last week, talking about the Coinbase Premium Index, when we were told that investors' interest in Bitcoin was waning off. Well, clearly not, given that we've had a nice little bit of movement in Bitcoin. So if you want to know about Bitcoin price action and where I expect it to end up, make sure you stick around towards the end of the video, because I'll be giving you my insight on what I expect to happen next. Given that shortly after this video, we are going to be going into the Nvidia key speaker event. Jensen's going to be telling us about Nvidia and what we can expect going into the future. Is he going to get involved in those humanoid robotics? Are we going to see an Nvidia car and they're going to call it the RTX? Who knows? The GeForce? Who knows? So let's get with the program, guys. Let's find out what's been going on in the marketplace and break it all down for you. So to get it kicked off, we've got Bloomberg suggesting to us that investors are looking for Nvidia's key speaker event, which could effectively lead to the next breakout. I believe that that would be the case, guys, because we go over to Nvidia's price action right now, and you can see that on this, where we go, here we go. So Nvidia has already, in essence, broken out after this long consolidation period. It hasn't quite taken its all-time high just yet. I'm looking for price to get above this 152 or 153 region itself. I have seen the orders on Nvidia, and I'm seeing quite a few 100,000 offers, in the sense where you've got a few traders that are actually planting orders to sell as Nvidia breaks higher. So maybe going into this event, we could actually see Nvidia gapping up quite aggressively going into tomorrow's market open. However, you've got to remember that the NASDAQ itself at 10 p.m. UK time, that is when the NASDAQ futures markets will be closing, and they'll close for 1 hour to reset the books and effectively continue on trading at 11 p.m. UK time. Now, the actual key speaker event is going to be aired around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time in the evening, so 9:30 p.m. And that's when we're going to start hearing about what to expect. It is a 2-day event, but Jensen's going to be speaking this evening. So keep an eye out on the NASDAQ, keep an eye out on Nvidia, but more importantly, keep an eye on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin trades all the time. So naturally, we're going to see a reaction with cryptocurrency across the board. Now, in terms of cryptocurrency, listen to this. This dude, yet again, is coming in and talking about crypto. Even though he was a bit pessimistic, saying Bitcoin's going to drop, he's now coming in saying that he's actually actively buying Bitcoin. And he also wants to see Bitcoin end up at around $350,000 a coin. Well, let's just quickly go over to the CoinAnk to understand. Hey, where is it? Here we go. Not the CoinAnk, the actual ETF market. You can see this is the current reading at 547,000 on the BlackRock ETF. Let's just refresh that just to see where we are with that. Currently still at the 540,000. We were witnessing BlackRock selling a little bit of Bitcoin going into from last week, where it was about 2,100 Bitcoin. 2,100 Bitcoin being sold. So that's probably why the balance has started to shave off a little bit. However, with this key speaker event, I do believe that Bitcoin is going to start seeing some flavor to the upside. Now, with that being said, we're hearing some great news that the Federal Reserve's Michael Barr resigns because he's scared of Trump. What are you scared of? This guy is an anti-crypto enthusiast, okay? So that's good. Out with the old, in with the new. That's what we want. We don't want people that are negative. We don't want people that are going to put in a vote for the Federal Reserve who could effectively have an impact on cryptocurrency. So, hoorah. Get him out, man. We got Gary out. Now we've got this dude, anti-crypto. Why are you... It doesn't make sense why these guys would be anti-cryptocurrency when you think about it. Why? Because their life... Well, think about it. It does, because their life depends on fiat. And if you get fiat out the equation, these guys cease to have a job. Let's be honest now. They won't. Now, with that being said, I just want to draw your attention to something we spoke about last week. Tell a lie, 2 days ago. I urge you to go and watch this video. In this video where it says Bitcoin pump, what you need to know. In this video, we dive into the story about the Coinbase Premium Index. Now, an article right here, as you can see, does say that the Coinbase Premium Index plunges to 12-month low, signaling waning US investor demand. That was wrong. Why? Well, let me just put it into perspective for you all, okay? Let me just come off this. Now, listen to this. At the time, if you notice that this was what was going on the actual Coinbase Premium Index, you can see right there that it was at its low. It was starting to try and work its way back up. However, what we've got to remember, and which is what I discussed in that video, the Coinbase Premium Index is a representation of where US retailers are in terms of buying and selling Bitcoin. Now, if you just look back, you will find that every time Bitcoin, or should I say the Coinbase Premium Index, shows a negative reading, that is a time for you to buy Bitcoin. Because the idea is that retail investors are selling. And the only way that they are fundamentally going to sell is if there is someone picking up a nice little order from them, like for like. So we then go over to the Coinac to understand that logic. In front of you is the order flow for Bitcoin. And it shows us who's buying and who's selling. At the top side, you can see someone has majestically sold at 101,000. They've sold $20 million worth of Bitcoin. The initial order was for 2.2 million. That is telling us that there are participants that are actively watching the chart and they are planting money, or should I say planting their Bitcoin orders to sell Bitcoin as it's rising. Now, this is very important for us because then we can correlate it to the Coinbase Premium Index and we can now see that this is starting to shoot up, which does suggest that Bitcoin still does have room to climb. Why? Because the Coinbase Premium Index has shown that Bitcoin's price has moved up. Has it moved up enough for retail traders to really say, you know what, let's get involved in Bitcoin? Well, let's go and have a look at Bitcoin's price right now. Here we go. So right now, Bitcoin is currently trading at the 101,784. Now, as you can see here, I've got like a little setup projection play right here, which was done earlier on for the Platinum members. We've had a great day today on the Platinum membership. So started off with Euro, and we wanted to see Euro come down, but it made a massive move up. If I just quickly show you first, before we get into the Bitcoin price action, Euro had made a significant move up. And I said, when Euro's trading at 1% plus and positive for the day, you're going to see a retrace. And Euro did do that retrace, and it was a pretty sharp retrace too. However, it wasn't quite what I wanted for the day. I wanted to see Euro pull back from here, and it actually surpassed this point. However, in the market watch, it kind of came through, but the market watch is a bigger time frame. Now, you've got to remember right now that there is a lot of traders, as we speak, hedge fund managers, that are positioned for Euro to go down. And that, of course, has a massive impact on Euro, because if dollar, or should I say Trump, is actively going to hurt the Eurozone in terms of tariffs, then the Euro itself is just going to deplete. It's going to go down to parity, which is where most of the hedge fund managers' positions are, which means once we hit parity on the Euro, which means that it's going to be 1-for-1 on the dollar, there will be massive, massive reversals from that point, as loads of those hedge fund managers will be looking to cover themselves, which naturally, when you close a short, it covers the position, okay? Now, going back into it all as well, we went into NASDAQ. We wanted to see NASDAQ make a nice move to the upside today, and we did see that move with the NASDAQ. We wanted to see NASDAQ try and clear out a range. I said, take some partial profits from this point here at 21,894. We go over to the NASDAQ, and you can see NASDAQ did very well today. Took out the 21,000, literally the 21,898, sorry, which is where the projection was, and it just reversed from that point. Fantastic. However, be mindful, this is getting ready for Nvidia, in my opinion. I wanted to see it go and take out 22,000, but it just looks like they made the move to the upside to effectively bring it down. I wanted to see NASDAQ try and come down first. However, sometimes you've just got to take the trade for what it is. And it always is a little bit of a difficult thing when you don't see it doing what you want it to do first, but it ends up doing what the desired result was in the first place, which is the same thing that I had with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana. So today, Bitcoin, we wanted to see it make a pump to the upside. But initially, we wanted to see Bitcoin try and come down a little bit from this area to effectively make the reversal to clear out the 100K zone. 100,661 was the target as such. And we can then see that Bitcoin today completely annihilated that and went to over 102,000, completely just took the range. It didn't quite correct the way I wanted it to correct. But this is what happens in the game, man. I can't control the depth of the correction. And ultimately, if you're going to go in line with the way prices are moving, if you go with a bias per se, and it ends up playing out, doesn't matter what your entry point was, you end up seeing a return. So hopefully the guys on the Platinum membership managed to see the benefit of that. I'd say Ethereum was the one that was a little bit tricky today. Wanted to see Ethereum from this point come down into the block bid support zone to effectively make the reversal back up. And she only managed to clear out the Asian session high. So if we go over to Ethereum, you can see that Ethereum didn't really do too much today. Bitcoin was the one that made the move, but Ethereum just came up and cleared the range and then came straight back down. But she did come close towards the entry points, but she made the move higher and then she made the reversal. And then to finalize it all, before we get into a bit of Bitcoin price action, we've got Solana. Now, Solana, she came actually in towards a very interesting range. So what we saw with Solana was as follows. At the start of the trading day, you can see inside of this range, she came down for the New York Open, the UK session, and she just started to trade upwards. Now, usually when you see the 5 and 13 EMA, which is this yellow line and this red line, as they cross over the 50 EMA, it is suggestive that we're going to see movement to the upside, or should I say momentum starting to come in to then lead prices higher, okay? Going into the actual setup itself, it was inside of that range and then it held within the 50 EMA. And as long as they can hold within the 50 EMA upper band cloud, which is this area right here, then logic says that it's going to trade away from that point. Volatility is coming in and then price should in principle mark higher. But we did actually see the good move on Solana. She did make the move up. I wanted to see 224 and we effectively ended up seeing 223.18. So not quite the hit, but come on, man, you can't go wrong with that. So if you are interested in taking advantage of these sort of setups, get yourself over to tradersreality.com, become a platinum member where you get more than that. You get access to courses, take the free course if you're not going to join the membership. But I guess the membership's going to serve you in ways in helping you understand how to apply the hybrid system when you utilize these sort of trade setups that I provide every single day. Okay. Now, with that being said, I did take some trades today myself. Didn't really do not too well, but I only managed to take advantage of Ethereum last night as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was making a move. And it was during the Asian session that I took the trade. So I managed to take a trade on Bitcoin in Asia last night. So if we just go over to Bitcoin in the Asian session, I managed to exploit the majority of this move from the green vector candle here to this red green vector candle wick right here, the stopping volume candle. But I closed out because I was just too tired to continue with the trading day itself. So we actually managed to see a return on Bitcoin first for 4,281. So we went in at 98,186 and we cleared out at 99,150. And then we did the same thing on Ethereum where we entered at 36.34. And we closed off at 36.67. But Ethereum was being very, very choppy with her price action. I think it's Bitcoin's day for it, ladies and gentlemen, because we're seeing so much movement on Bitcoin. And do I think it's got more room to move? Most definitely, which leads me over to the following story about Bitcoin on the daily. Now, going over to the daily for the holders, this is what we've been talking about. So if you go back in the videos and the live streams, I've been making reference to this for the holders for quite some time about the importance of this 50 EMA and how this touch is going to effectively determine if Bitcoin is going to continue higher or not. Now you can see it has now managed to successfully work its way in towards the red vector candle wick right here. And we've still got yet a little bit more flavor from Bitcoin because they have not taken the remainder of the violet vector candle. Now that tells me that if this area does sustain itself and the data this week that comes out, because guys, the data, I'm going to tell you this now. All right. The jobs data, jobs openings, ADP employment change, non-farm payrolls, and unemployment rate. To me right now, it's pathetic information. Why? Because you're usually, don't know what's going on in my speech today. Usually what happens is when you see the jobs openings coming into place, suggesting that there is more jobs available, it does tell you if people are taking it or not. I mean, if we go over to this right here, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here you can see that there are various readings behind this job opening story. You've got the job openings themselves, you've got the hires, the openings rate, of course, the quits, the layoffs, and the layoffs rates, okay? So it's not just this data itself. It does show you that there's a little bit more behind the JOLTS job openings on what's really going on with people. Are they actually taking on the jobs? Are the companies actually taking people on? Or are they just offering jobs just to look good? Because that's something that has been discussed in the past. And certain investigations have come in to say that the JOLTS job openings is just a place for companies just to advertise that the company is wanting to employ people without employing them, just to keep shareholders in the win, in the thinking that they need to hold on to the stock because companies doing big things and it needs more people. Well, that's a lie. But anyways, other bouts of data like the ADP non-farm employment change, and of course we've got unemployment claims again this week. But look, FOMC minutes. The only thing that I'm waiting for this week is, of course, the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. That for me is the most solid representation of the actual data that the Fed relies on to determine whether or not we cut the interest rates or hold on to it. One key aspect of this right here, guys, is this. Bitcoin from the last touch of the 50 EMA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, Bitcoin's candlesticks have closed relatively towards the upper percentile of the candle range. You've got effectively 2 days where Bitcoin has been in and out, like not really showing signs of direction, all right? This candlestick right here is serving fuel to the idea that Bitcoin could actually surpass and go for its all-time high. Nvidia's announcement and the key speaker event will be the trigger for that. But it's all going to be based on how Asia relates to it tonight. Now, if we just go over to what's going on in that environment, the Japanese yen is just dropping. It's going down. It peaked at the lows today down at the 0.0663835 region. That's no good for the Japanese yen. We go over to the bonds market. You can see the bonds for the Japanese ain't looking too good either. They're gapping down. There's no interest in the Japanese bonds. The yields are just so high. This does not make sense. The yen itself is already struggling with having to make repayments or discuss the idea whether or not they should actually intervene, because the dollar yen principle says that USD JPY is just trading at significant areas right now. This is consistent with Forex intervention. That means the Japanese need to buy dollars and then exchange it to yen to deflate the dollar down because it's hurting them in terms of trade. But they're waiting for Trump. That's all they're waiting for. And they're going to give it a bit of time, find out what Trump's going to do with these tariffs, and then they will make a move. So maybe the volatility index, when we look at it, there could be an event that could lead the volatility index to shoot up. And I'm telling you, if the volatility index gets anywhere above 29 or 30, you want to buy when it starts to come back down. In other words, something like this. So if you go into smaller time frames, take on the 8-hour time frame, and you can see that once you've got a correction on the volatility index, because what this means that investors have aggressively hedged themselves against an event. So if you've got a black swan event or there's something of concern to investors, they're going to quickly have a look at their portfolios and say, oh my God, what are we going to do? Well, quickly chuck everything over to the bonds or quickly move money and diversify yourself and go into defense-based stocks. Open puts over here, go short on this. So that's what is represented by the volatility index. When you see it shoot up, get yourself ready to start buying. With that being said, guys, I hope that's enough information for you. Remember, Bitcoin right now has done a great job of testing the 50 EMA. The next candlestick that is currently in print is giving us the idea that the Nvidia key speaker event could lead Bitcoin even further up. As Bitcoin goes to recover that violet vector candle, consider taking some profits because Bitcoin is in an area where it can meet some relatively decent resistance. And of course, you've got a lot of retail traders going long on leverage where they're going to feel like they're missing out on the move to the upside. The market will do the due diligence and make them pay the price for not paying themselves. If you've enjoyed tonight's video, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be tuning into you all back to the New York live stream. Not in the car. Take care of yourselves, gang. Peace.